Success and healing are internal processes. I'm talking about this because I had a comment on my YouTube channel. Someone said, I'd like to hear more about healing. It's from someone that I know. And so I'm going to talk about it. I've mentioned certain things in some of my videos. And if anyone has read my book, Overcoming Fear, A Guide to Freedom, you might have heard a little bit more because I've healed so much throughout my life. But see, they're both connected, success and healing, because if when you are having physical ailments of any sort, typically there's some sort of disconnection from your authentic self. You are not owning who you're meant to become. And success is the same thing. Because when we can't own our authentic selves, it's going to be very difficult for us to manifest the kind of success we want to have in our lives or we want to experience. And it is a journey, and that's the journey that I took. If you've read the book, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, it gives you a little more information because Louise is a person who walked through, she did, all of these difficulties in her life. And she began as a Christian Scientist, just as I did, meaning that we knew that we could use our mind-body connection to heal. But that doesn't mean that we get there right away, because there could be also this other part that causes us to not accept who we are. And that's why we don't experience success. And this is the journey that I have taken. This is why I guide all my clients to move through those barriers, the trauma, the old beliefs, so that they can heal. Healing trauma is an internal process. And then what happens is you start to discover your authentic self, and then you start to attract the kind of success that you want to experience in your life in every single area. Money, abundance, love, relationships, whatever it is, it's all the same, but it's you connecting to who you were meant to be. There's no person that was born without those qualities, but see, we will make different decisions about that based on how we've been programmed, what we have learned or come to believe about ourselves, and the limitations that always exist within us. And we don't get there right away. And this is why I tell people that I work with and people in my program, we know that we're continually moving through something to reach more levels of acceptance, empowerment, and self-confidence, because that's all the same. Your confidence comes when you start to accept and own your authentic self. And that's probably the most challenging thing that anyone moves through, because we have the habit of comparing ourselves to someone else. And this is what was challenging for me, because the way that I did my work was so different than everyone else. So it took a while for me to understand it and to even talk about it. And I've said this before, because most people don't believe what you can do. It just seems like these are just words that are coming through, but the fact is I've lived it all. And so this is why I talk about things in the way that I do. And I'm saying it now as well, because as all the work I've done in the last several years, when I started shifting, was to help people own their authentic selves, because we're moving through a dramatic change in our world. And so it becomes uncomfortable for us when we're in fear, when we're not thriving in the way that we could. And all of those things are connected to our authentic selves. And I had an incident. I've probably told this story before, but I'll do it here just to illustrate the point. And I suffered from cluster headaches. And if you've ever heard of those, they're just really horrible. They're called the suicide headache, because you want to kill yourself. And I was in that place many, many times in my life. I had my first attack in 1979, actually, when I was in New York. And then they would come back over different periods of time in my life, and they would keep repeating. And it was the most horrible thing, because you're debilitated while they're occurring. And I thought, and then at that time, it's different now, but at that time I was told there's no cure. There were no medications. There was nothing I could take. But when they would happen, I couldn't do anything. I would be in a dark room. I'd be on the floor, whatever. I've done a video about that one as well. However, when I started studying more, one thing that helped quite a bit was Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. And if you get this concept, you'll understand it. We only have pain when we are trying to get out of our present moment awareness in anything. And that'll take a lot for you to think of. But there's a concept that there's no pain in the moment of now. And I thought, oh, that's got to work for my body as well. It took a while, but it did work. And I cured those headaches that people said that couldn't be done. I've cured many other things in that way as well. Because, see, what I was doing before was, here comes the pain. Let me run away from it. Or let me try to get to this other place where I want to be, where there's no pain. So I don't want to move through the experience of accepting what might be occurring. And the moment I started to like really say, I'm not going to run, I'm not going to allow this to control my life, then they were healed. And they've never come back. And fortunately, I've been able to guide other people through that one as well. Had a very good friend who, he didn't even know what they were, but now he's in this state of healing as well, and recovery, because that is part of it. And for everyone has the ability to do that. All of it, everything in any person's life is coming to accept who they are, own their importance, and working through all the old programming. It's no different for any single person, except we try to run to the future that hasn't happened yet, or we're still worried or regretting or beating ourselves up for the past. And then you can see how that healing doesn't occur until we are ready to embrace who we are and do it in the present moment. Yeah, both healing and success are internal processes.